Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show podcast, coming from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined in studio today by Ray Ora.
What's up, everyone?
Jonathan Voico.
Hello.
And most importantly, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here, making this little show part of your day, and here's how our show's going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a bunch of predetermined topics. Then in the second half of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. If you have a thought, theory, observation, comment, or question that you'd like us to address, as long as we deem it appropriate to be used on our show, go ahead and use our tip link at www.streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. Send it on in and we'll get to it in the last part of the show. But just to let you guys know and remind you that if you guys are listening to the show on the podcast feed, or if you're watching the show a little bit later on in the day when we're not actually live, this tip link is good 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So go ahead and use it, and we'll just get around to it on the next episode.
Before we start, I just wanted to thank everyone from yesterday's show who provided all the questions, just because you gave us the meat of the show yesterday, which was I was trying to say when we got off air. I got that all mixed up. If it sounded wrong, I'm sorry, but yeah, just wanted to thank everyone who joined us yesterday.
And thank you for joining us today. So, without any further ado, guys, let's jump right into it. We're going to start off with this. You know, when we talk about movies, we're often talking about the sexier things, the stars of the movie, or the directors, sometimes the writers. We don't often talk about the executives that make all the big decisions that kind of guide and steer where the creative direction of all these movies go, which movies get made, which movies don't get made. Well, a pretty big shakeup has just happened over at Disney Animation. The chief creative officer, the head of Disney Animation, Jennifer Lee, is stepping down as the chief creative officer, the head of Disney Animation, and is being replaced by Jared Bush. Now, the article in the Hollywood Reporter here suggests that, now, for those of you who think you might recognize Jennifer Lee's name, she's also the person who wrote and directed the first two Frozen movies. Pretty big. Now, the official word being given is that the reason she is stepping down is that so she can solely focus on writing and shepherding and directing the Frozen movies. Because remember, they got 2 more Frozen movies coming. And also remember, this Frozen thing is a multi-billion-dollar franchise. So they say she's stepping down to focus exclusively on Frozen, whereas Jared Bush, who has written things like Moana, he wrote the original Moana. He also wrote and directed Zootopia, and I believe he wrote and directed Encanto. I think he did that one as well. So he's being promoted to kind of step up and take over the chief creative officer role. Lee is stepping down to focus on shepherding and guiding their biggest, most successful animated franchise in Frozen. Now, it's not all ice cream and lollipops. I mean, one of the things the Hollywood Reporter does point out is this. Her departure as COO, and I should say CCO anyway, isn't a complete surprise. During her tenure as the chief creative officer, the storied animation studio suffered major misses, including 2022's Strange World, which was terrible, and last year's Wish, which was also terrible. But she wasn't without her wins. Encanto won an Oscar and was a major commercial success after finding its groove, and the company's upcoming slate includes the highly anticipated sequel Moana 2, out in theaters in November 27th. All right. So this is clearly not any kind of an angry parting of the ways. I mean, she's still staying on at Disney. She is still the shepherd of their crown jewel in Disney Animation with the Frozen franchise. And if you don't already completely believe that the next 2 Frozen films will easily make $1 billion each, then you haven't been paying attention. This is serious. This is obviously a big major thing. So not so bad, but clearly they felt they needed a little bit of shakeup at the top because, again, Wish was terrible. I mean, I wanted to like Wish. I liked the trailers for Wish. Chris Pine as the voice of the evil king was great and everything, but it was just a lousy movie.
Every time I walk into Target, I'm like, they're still losing money because you see all the Wish merchandise there.
Are they still have Wish merchandise on the shelf?
So much that it's like on clearance. I'm like, they can't move this stuff. They actually had high hopes for Wish. from just by looking at the merchandise.
Oh yeah, from the marketing you could tell they had high hopes for Wish.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it was a miss and whatever. So you know what? They promote from within. Somebody who's had success with the company, make them the chief creative officer. She's going to just solely focus on a multi-billion-dollar franchise in Frozen. So it looks like everybody wins.
So a change like this is nothing like maybe the average moviegoer is going to notice, right? It's going to probably flow smoothly between the two.
Probably.
Just because it's like not, yeah.
And listen, if you could make the argument that Frozen is just too important to them.
Oh, definitely.
To have the writer director also be doing two jobs, like trying to run Disney Animation and be the writer and director of that. It's the one thing that gives me a little bit of pause about James Gunn. I mean, James Gunn is the guy to be the creative head of DC Studios, yes, especially since he's working with a co-CEO in Peter Safran, who's more of an expertise on the business side. And I'm glad he is directing the first movie they're doing with Superman, but I got to admit, I have all the faith in the world in James Gunn, but that makes me a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
And I guess Disney didn't want to kind of have that kind of a thing. Like, again, Frozen is just too important to them.
Now, do we know if she was CCO when she was doing Frozen too?
I don't think she was.
Okay.
I think, and I could be wrong about this, I think she got promoted from within after the success of Frozen, but...
So in a way, James Gunn's task is monumental then, to try to
James Gunn's task is
Herculean.
almost unwise.
Yeah.
Almost unwise.
Unless,
So-
if not for the fact that then he also, he's right?
yeah,
Because
again,
if he
he's
didn't have
got
that
Peter
help,
Safran there with him.
without
Yeah.
Peter's help, I can't.
Yeah, so there you go, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this? A little bit of a shakeup at Disney Animation as they got a brand new boss. The boss who has been there is now just going to focus on the Frozen franchise. The guy who gave us Zootopia is now moving up to take over as the chief creative officer of the company. So what do you think about that? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Officially today, Transformers 1 hits theaters.
Yeah.
And I am telling you what, I am really torn between watching Thursday Night Football or going to go see Transformers 1 again. Because Transformers 1, it's not going to be the best movie of the year, but I mean, it is the Transformers movie I have waited my whole life for. It's truly a wonderful little movie, completely honoring the spirit of Transformers. I had a ball with it. Again, it's not going to be in my top 3 best films of the year, but I really, really had a good time with it. Easily the best Transformers movie they've made so far. So you have that. Well, it's opening up today, officially. They did the advanced fan screenings on Saturday. A lot of you guys went to go see it, but now it's out officially. And now we're getting word about what the box office is looking like it may be. And they're saying that Transformers 1 is going to make somewhere between $30 and $40 million on its opening weekend. Now, that's pretty good. Ray, could you look up for me, what did Bumblebee make on its opening weekend?
Okay. I was actually looking up seats to see if the seats
See how many
were
seats you
full.
can get?
Yeah, no, just to see if the seats were full for at least today's showing. But
So
I got you.
with Transformers 1 coming out, now look, one of the things you got to understand about
21 million.
21 million
21
is what Bumblebee
yeah.
made. Now, when Bumblebee came out, it had a massive hurdle in front of it. The shittiness of the other Transformers movies. I'm sorry, that's just a fact. Bumblebee faced a lot of scrutiny and a lot of doubt and a lot of pessimism because the other Transformers movies sucked. It's just the way it is. And so even though Bumblebee, directed by Travis Knight, who directed Kubo and the Two Strings, was wonderful movie, it struggled to find its legs because a lot of people have given up.
Oof.
I would also suggest that Transformers 1 is facing a little bit of that. Because Transformers Rise of the Beasts is not so great. What's that? Why are you scouring?
Oof.
What?
I'm looking at the seats for some of the
seats
showings.
open.
Oof.
Well, what time?
7.
You're going to have to define oof.
Yeah, 7:45 p.m. Look it up at the AMC, which is it's a good time, right? It's not a long movie. There's like 5 seats that are occupied. So
Yeah, but not a ton of people unless it's a blockbuster rush out on the Thursday nights, though.
No, you got to
And
look at
again,
like Friday or
Oh,
whatever.
look at
They're
it.
talking 30 to 40 million, which would again, I mean, if it comes into the top end of that, that would be double what Bumblebee made. And again, and also it's facing the stigma of being an animated film. You're facing doubt because, you know, it's not Peter Cullen, it's not Frank Welker doing the voice of Megatron. It's a whole new thing. So you got some people within the Transformers fandom that are doubting it, people from outside the Transformers fandom saying, the Transformers movies suck, all that kind of stuff. So it's got a long road ahead of it. The question is going to be, can it find legs? So it's probably going to open at number 1 at the box office ahead of Beetlejuice. Because Beetlejuice is going into its 3rd weekend. So it'll probably drop below $30 million.
And we can't deny that even though they were really bad films, some of them, the live action Transformers, people just go, it's more like an event film for a lot of people. And to switch them over to this sort of cartoony, almost if you look at it,
I don't think so, because like the steam of the Transformers live action ran out. Like, yeah, people like me kept getting tricked into thinking the next one's going to be great.
We'll
and
keep
then
going too.
And then the trailers come out, and the trailers for all the Transformers movies looked amazing. So we kept going, and then finally the movie like once we got to the last night, that was what it was called, right? The last night or the final night or whatever it was.
The last straw for me.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's a movie where they literally said Mark Wahlberg was the last iconic mythical knight of Cybertron.
Oh, he was great. Didn't you see him in Planet of the Apes?
Open
Of course
with
he is.
44 million, ended up with 605 million
Right,
worldwide.
which was a major drop from
yeah.
the previous one, and then that was shitty, and then it led into Bumblebee, which did even worse, even though the movie was great. So they've got a lot of hurdles they got to come over. So we're going to see if it can have that kind of legs. Can it have Elemental kind of legs? Because Elemental, I forget what it opened to. Check it, but
I believe
it was like 20 million. Yeah, I think it was 21 million
I think
dollars.
I looked at enough to
Elemental opened with.
Yeah, it's 29.
Oh,
So-
29 million.
And that went on to make $500 million. If Transformers 1, which is every bit as good as Elemental, can open with 30 to 40 and then get word of mouth going, find its legs, maybe you can do all right. So I'm looking forward to it either way. Guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Transformers 1 is not going to have a massive blockbuster opening, but it's going to have a much bigger opening than Bumblebee did for an animated film facing an uphill climb against a lot of negative thoughts that people have about the Transformers brand and all that kind of stuff. How big can it be? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. That down. Let's move on to this. In the midst of all the questions going around, and they will persist until we finally get an announcement about who's going to be the next James Bond. Guys, we have literally been talking about who's going to be the next James Bond. People have been writing in questions about who's going to be the next James Bond, literally for years already. Like since before the last Daniel Craig movie even came out in theaters. Like, I feel like it was like 4 or 5 years ago that the first rumors came up about maybe it's Idris Elba, maybe it's Tom Hiddleston.
We've watched candidates get old and become no
Yeah,
longer
like
no
Blade,
longer become
like
candidates.
Mahershala Ali playing
Come
Blade.
on. You always got to throw that in my face, man. Come on.
But I mean, it's been forever. But kind of hidden behind all the noise about who's going to be the next Bond has been the question, who's going to direct? Maybe even more importantly, who's going to direct the next James Bond? Now, there have been reports over the past number of months that a couple of the best directors in the world, Denis Villeneuve, has met with the Broccoli family. Of course, the Broccoli family is ultimately the people in charge of the James Bond franchise. There's been reports that Christopher Nolan straight up wants to direct a James Bond film. The problem, of course, is that he's also publicly said he would have to be in complete control of it, and I don't think the Broccoli's are going to allow that. Nor should they. Because the Broccoli's got to think about the next 5 James Bond movies. You can't just let any director come in and do whatever they want with one, because then that kind of ties your hands behind your back about what you can do later on. But whatever. Well, now another name has kind of surfaced. I've seen this floating around a little bit, there's no official word about it, but it's an interesting name. La La Land, Whiplash, and First Man director Damien Chazelle. The rumor going around now, he has publicly said before that he doesn't want to work on any Hollywood IPs except James Bond. James Bond has been the one thing that he has said he would do. And now rumors are circulating that last week he actually met with the Broccoli family. Now, again, let me serve this up with a giant boulder of salt. This is not coming from official sources. These are rumors going around. Sometimes rumors are right. Oftentimes they're wrong. But it does kind of match up. We know that the Broccoli's have been targeting big player directors. We know that Damien Chazelle has said he would love to direct. Like, out of all the Hollywood IPs, he doesn't want to do any of them except for Bond. He is a remarkable director. Look, Babylon, was that the name of the one he just did with Margot Robbie and Brad Pitt?
Oh, yeah.
So.
Was it called Babylon?
Yep.
Yeah.
That wasn't so good. But you could tell it was made by an artist, right? Like, I ended up not liking Babylon that much, and it certainly kind of flopped. But even then, even though it didn't work, you could tell somebody who really knows what they're doing made this movie. It didn't just quite work out. But I love his other three. I thought First Man that he did with Ryan Gosling was underrated.
I still want to see that.
It's really good. I mean, it wasn't for me like a top 5 film of the year that year, but it was a really good movie. La La Land has become like a Hollywood pillar now. Like now when you think Hollywood, a lot of people just think La La Land, right? Won a whole ton of Academy Awards, all that kind of stuff. And maybe to me, his best film, Whiplash, which also won some Oscars, got J.K. Simmons his Academy Award.
It's coming back in theaters too.
Coming back into theaters. This guy is a tremendous director. And side note, the cinematographer, Linus
Right.
Sandgren.
Sandgren, is that how you say it?
Sandgren.
Okay. Linus Sandgren. That Damien Chazelle works with all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Just so happened to have done one of the last James Bond movies as well. So there's so they could work together again on James Bond.
I had no idea he wrote 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Did Damien Chazelle write it?
Chazelle?
He wrote it right here. 10
Wow.
Cloverfield Lane.
I did not know that.
That was like the best of that series, in my opinion, as far as writing, you know.
And
yeah.
And as far as directing, it shows he has nothing upcoming.
Actually, 10 Cloverfield Lane, that was the one with John Goodman, right?
Yeah.
That was, I think that was easily the best movie of the franchise.
I really liked it.
Yeah.
It was really, and of course you had Mary Elizabeth in there as well, which I adore her.
Yeah, he doesn't look like he has any upcoming projects, or at least in IMDb.
Well, that's the other thing. In a recent interview, Damien Chazelle was being interviewed, and he said, the interviewer asked him what's he doing next, and he said, well, I've got 2 projects that everybody's waiting for me to pick between. Could one of those be James Bond? I think the answer, again, nothing's confirmed here. This is all rumor and speculation, but the stars seem to be aligned. Look, all I'll say is this. If they announce tomorrow, if I open up the Hollywood Reporter tomorrow and see that Damien Chazelle is going to be the director of the next James Bond, I'm going to be very happy. Don't get me wrong. There are other directors they could announce that would also make me very happy, but I think this is one of those names that I think James Bond fans would be really happy. You get a high quality storyteller and an Academy Award winning filmmaker and a Damien Chazelle. Then it really starts to intensify, because I guarantee you, if they get him to direct the next James Bond, the next rumor about who's going to play James Bond is going to be Ryan Gosling.
The American.
Because he's worked with him, right? He's worked with him in La La Land. He worked with him in First Man.
Yeah, buddy.
Again, no. They won't let him. They won't pick the Canadian.
No.
Yeah.
Although
I mean, that's
Canada,
still part of the
England,
Commonwealth.
we're pretty close.
The Commonwealth.
We both have the Queen.
Although I
Well,
don't know
now we're
if
gonna have to
Canada's
put
in the
king.
Commonwealth anymore.
But we've had the Queen. We still had the Queen on our money.
Would love to see him as
We
a
still
villain.
have royalty in our money.
Would love to see him as a villain of James Bond.
That could be good, because I remember when they went out and got Why am I freezing on one of the sexiest guys alive?
Rayora? Is that what it is?
Yeah. Oh, there he is.
That's what I'm
Oh
thinking.
my
in
god.
studio.
Inspired.
In Blind World, Rayora.
No, the guy from No Country for Old Men won the Academy Award for Javier Bardem.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they went and got a super hot actor at the time, and Javier Bardem got him to be the villain. They got Rami Malek, an Academy Award winning, hot actor at the time, to go out and be a villain. Maybe you could convince a Ryan Gosling to play a bad guy.
Have James Bond villains also been British? Have they made that a point too?
No.
As well?
Not
No.
necessarily.
They've
Get
been from
Ben
all
Foster
over.
in there.
I mean,
bring back Ben Foster.
Traditionally, they would be like from the early days. They would have been Russian.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So-
But then you had like your Sean Bean was in
006
but yeah, it was 006.
died in that movie too.
That was Goldeneye, right?
I can't.
He did. He also died in that movie.
Yeah.
Was that right away?
Correct me in the live chat, but I think that was Goldeneye.
006.
It could be. I'm gonna look that up.
Anyway,
Yeah.
well, again, do not start talking to your friends and saying, "Did you hear Damien Chazelle's going to direct the next James Bond?" That's the whispers, the rumors, all that kind of stuff. But just as movie fans, we love to speculate, and I think it'd be pretty damn cool if he ended up directing this film. Question is for you guys: what do you think about this? Do you think Damien Chazelle will actually end up being the next director of James Bond? Would you like to see him direct a James Bond, or do you have somebody else in mind? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. We still got to talk a bunch about Agatha. The first 2 episodes dropped last night. We're going to talk about that. And now that Agatha's out, completely prematurely, we're going to put it in the list of Disney Plus films, and we're now going to rank the Marvel Disney Plus live action shows. But before we do, we're going to take a quick second and thank a couple of sponsors of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at PrizePicks and Hungryroot. We want to take a second and thank a sponsor of today's episode, PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. And PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. All you have to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 players' stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. PrizePicks is the best way to get action on sports in most states, including California, Texas, and Georgia. You see, PrizePicks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. And I was pleasantly surprised by just how quick and easy it was to get set up and registered and ready to go. Here's a couple of examples of picking your more or less. Tyreek Hill for more than 90 receiving yards, Dak Prescott for more than 263 passing yards, and CeeDee Lamb for more than 96 receiving yards. So guys, download the PrizePicks app today and use the code CAMPEA and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code CAMPEA on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks. Run your game. We want to thank a sponsor of today's episode, Hungryroot. Guys, you know me, I like things that make my life easier, especially things that make it easier for me to eat healthy and eat well, and certainly more effectively than trying to order from food delivery services. Hungryroot is the easiest way to eat healthy. They send you fresh, high-quality groceries, simple, delicious recipes, and essential supplements. It's like having someone else do all the planning and shopping so you don't even have to think about it. Hungryroot gets to know your personal health goals, dietary restrictions, favorite foods, how much time you want to spend cooking, and more. Then, they build you a personalized cart with all your grocery needs for the week, including easy 4-ingredient recipes to put those groceries to use. Each order is fully customizable so you can take their suggestions or choose anything you want. They've got fresh produce, high-quality meat and seafood, healthy snacks, smoothies, sweets, ready-to-eat meals, kids snacks and meals, vitamins and supplements, and much more. Everything from Hungryroot follows a simple standard. It's got to taste good, be quick to make, and contain whole, trusted ingredients. Right now, Hungryroot is offering the John Campea Show listeners 40% off your first delivery and free veggies for life. Just go to hungryroot.com/Campea to get 40% off your first delivery and get your free veggies. That's hungryroot.com/Campea. Don't forget to use our link so that they know we sent you. And thank you to our friends at PrizePicks and Hungryroot for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys, with that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Well, last night, the new Marvel Disney Plus live action show, Agatha All Along, debuted on Disney Plus. And we sat down and watched it. And look, I'll just tell you straight up. I thought it was quite solid. I thought it was really quite good. I really enjoyed it. And I've, a little conflicted going into it. I've always thought this show would be good, but I've thought that about a lot of Disney Plus shows. And a lot of Disney Plus shows disappoint us. Right? Just recently, we had Acolyte. We had Ahsoka. We had Secret Invasion. We've just had not great results from Disney Plus shows, particularly the Marvel ones. Some really great ones, many not so good. So how would they be able to do it? Now, also, take what we're going to say with a grain of salt. A lot of the Disney Plus Marvel shows start strong, even the terrible ones. She-Hulk, for example, I thought had a really good first episode. And what happened after that? I really liked the first episode of She-Hulk. That can happen. So we are understandably only talking about the first 2 episodes of Agatha. But I got to tell you, man, I was really quite happy with it. One of the great things is when you realize, and this will be non-spoiler, but what I'm about to say happens literally in the first 1 minute of the show. And it's part of something you already saw in a trailer. Because in that one trailer, we see Agatha, who apparently has had her memory wiped or something like that, and she's still living in Westview, but now she's a cop. And we all saw that trailer where she goes to murder scene. That's the very beginning of the show. And I was just kind of thinking, oh, she doesn't remember who she is, so she's kind of taken on this life. But then she runs into another cop who was the neighbor in WandaVision. And I'm like, wait a minute. And that's when it clicks in. She is literally living in a television show hex like they had in WandaVision. And only this one was a Mayor of Easttown show that she was living in. And what they call it, Agatha of Westview was the name of the show she was living in. And I loved it. The whole murder victim thing. I thought Aubrey Plaza was fantastic. I really like the kid. Sorry, not kid, teen. I really loved the teen. I liked the coven she assembles. It's, here's the thing. I talked about this a little bit. I did a first reaction live stream last night. And here's one of the big things. Compare it to, say, something like Acolyte. The major problem with Acolyte was that it just blew the fundamentals of good storytelling. Right? Nothing else that people with political agendas will tell you is right. None of that was the problem with the show. The problem with that show, what made it terrible, was it just blew basic fundamentals of storytelling and writing and structure. You had completely single-dimensional characters that all you had to do was hear one sentence from a character and you already knew everything you needed to know about that character. They never got any deeper, anything. And you know what? I listened to, Trey Parker and what's the other guy who does South Park?
Matt Stone.
So Stone and Parker, I watched this video of them once. It was really brilliant. They were doing a writing class. And they were talking about, it's a very simple principle. I've heard other people say it too, but they put it really well. Where, like, if you want, the first building block of good writing is this. Writing should not be, this happens, then this happens, then this happens, then this happens. It should be, this happens, therefore this happens. As a result of this happens, therefore this happens. It sounds like a small difference, but when you're watching it, you can tell. When you watch something like Acolyte, every scene was this happens and this happens and this happens and this happens. But when you watched Agatha, you could just tell right away the writing was so much better. You could tell the narrative had proper flow. Every scene was this happens, which therefore this happens. As a result of this happens. The characters all had far more depth. The dialogue was much more superior. So while I've only seen 2 episodes of Agatha, you can already tell the writing is so much more superior than in something like Secret Invasion or something like Acolyte or something like Ahsoka or something like that. Like, it was just much better. And that gives me, just seeing that they're just getting the fundamentals of good storytelling right, gives me a lot of hope for episodes 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, I'm not going to get too excited about Agatha All Along, just because I think the first 2 episodes were pretty solid. Because again, Marvel Disney Plus shows tend to start well. I'll get excited once I see episodes 3 and 4 if they maintain that quality level or get better. Then I'll start to get excited about the show.
I think the strength is in the lead of Catherine
Oh,
Hahn.
Catherine, she carries it.
Yeah, she has owned this role, and that gives me more confidence than usual for the rest of the show. She's just perfect. Like she's become Agatha to me. I can't see her in anything else. The first 2 episodes, she
crushed it.
Yeah, I was entertained by her.
And how good was Aubrey Plaza?
She's a likable asshole. You know what I mean? She's a very revengeful, but very charming in some ways, I think.
And speaking of Catherine Hahn's ass, I never thought I'd see it, but here we are.
I completely forgot.
Oh, you know, that I guess that could be considered a mouse. Sorry. So forget that I said that. But I mean, again, it's just, and you know what? And I put up on my Instagram last night, because that Witches Road Coven song was banger.
Yeah.
And I put up on Instagram, I said, Agatha's Coven song 1,000 times better than the Acolyte's Coven song.
Than any other song.
The power of one, the power of two, off to Disneyland we go. I need to poo. I don't know. It was just everything about the Acolyte. You know what? I need to stop thinking about the Acolyte.
But the best part, I mean, the best feeling for me was during the second episode, I was like, oh, they're going to end like this. And I was like, and they did. And I was disappointed because I wanted to see more.
This is what I said last night.
I wanted to see more.
You want something anecdotal that says this Marvel Disney Plus show is better than a number of the other Disney Plus Marvel shows, is that when episode 2 ended, Ray's first reaction was, oh, they should have launched with 3. Because they launched with 2 episodes. And as soon as the second episode ended, on a little bit of a thing, you know, they find the thing they find, and Ray's like, oh, they should have launched with 3. That right there
is a good thing.
Is a sign that you're watching something better than Secret Invasion.
Right. As opposed to like, well, I'll wait for the next one and we'll get through that.
But I'm just afraid that we're right here.
Yeah, maybe. Well, you got 9 episodes to get through.
Yeah. I mean, right. But that's the $1 billion question, right?
Right.
Okay, so Agatha All Along, I think universally we're seeing, like, it's actually got a 79% critic rating and a 77% audience rating right now. And so it's the general consensus is the show has started solid. The question is, will it fall off a cliff like so many other Marvel Disney Plus shows have? Or will it actually be, you know what? I'm going to go out and say, I believe, I don't know, but I believe it will maintain, because again, just the basic fundamentals of proper storytelling you can see are on display in the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, that's why I've said in the past, you know, it's like with shows that's a perfect example of Matt and Trey, where it's just like, oh, well, this just happened because it just did. It's in the script. So it's just disjointed, but it just happened. So just believe it. And it frustrates you. There's no linear logical path to it. So that's really good. And I love that this show is show run. So it has an overhead, you know what I mean? So fun fact, it was also one of the last things shot at the Warner Brother Ranch, which is now demolished. So that historical, you know, ranch area in Burbank where they shoot hundreds of movies and shows.
And if I remember correctly, John, when we were doing She-Hulk, I think after the first 2 episodes, I saw that drop in your enthusiasm as soon as we got to episode 3.
Yeah.
It only picked up when Daredevil came, but it was a small pickup, but you were downhill from there.
Yeah.
So let's hope
start
episode
strong.
3
and
is
by the
not
way,
the same thing.
By the way, hopefully we're in for a doubleheader. Because the Penguin comes out tonight.
I was gonna say that. I was like, this has nothing to do with Disney and the CEOO, but it just dawned on me, Penguins tonight.
And that's still holding a 89%.
It's holding an 89% right now.
Oh man, I know what I'm doing tonight. I'm watching Penguin.
What I find strange about this 89% critic rating in the Penguin is it doesn't show how many at all. It just is that.
Oh,
that right?
so you click on step
if
into
you go
reviews.
to the it's got 72.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
It's got 72 reviews right now.
That'll update when more come through.
But I am so, if I can be blessed with a truly solid start with Agatha All Along last night and a good solid opening for the Penguin tonight, I will be a happy man.
Well, actually, because I didn't get to watch Agatha yet, so I get to do those 3 today.
You get to do a doubleheader tonight.
And to know, Penguin, other than tonight, like I think that new episodes premiere every Sunday.
Yeah, so they're premiering tonight. The sad thing is we then have to wait 10 days because all the other episodes are going to come out on Sunday.
Yeah,
so
House of Dragon
great
style.
news, the Penguin comes out tonight.
Yeah.
Bad news, if we love the episode, we got to wait 10 days for the next episode.
And is that Agatha staying on Wednesdays?
I believe so.
Yeah,
Yeah. All right, guys. Question is for you. We liked the first couple of episodes of Agatha All Along. How did you feel about it? Better than you thought? Not as good as you hoped? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You know, after watching Agatha All Along last night and doing, I did a reaction live stream afterwards. I kind of talked about where would I put Agatha. And now it's premature because we've only seen 2 episodes, but you said a couple of people asked me like, where, with just 2 episodes in, where would you rank it? And so I thought, you know what? We haven't done this. Right now, I believe we now have 10, if we include Agatha, we have 10 live action Marvel Disney Plus shows. And so I thought we would take a little bit of time here on this Thursday to rank them. Now, all art is subjective, but my list is law. I'm about to give you the definitive, undisputed list of quality. Obviously, it's subjective. It's just my opinion.
And before you start, I just want to say how it's funny that these first 2 episodes actually beat the whole series of some of the shows.
Yep.
Well, that's the thing. It's like when we get through this and we look back, then we can say, now, if we were doing this by premiere, it would look so different.
Oh, yeah, because so many of the Marvel Plus shows started well. Yeah. But, and again, wherever I end up putting Agatha on this list, it will probably be in a different spot by the time we get to the end of the show. But just for funsies, let's take a look at this. Let's start at number 10. This was a show. Oh, Jonathan beat me to it. This was a show that I had a lot of enthusiasm for.
Everyone forget what you saw.
A lot of excitement. It had good Canadian kid Tatiana Maslany, an Emmy Award-winning actress, and a good first episode. But I've got to put down at the bottom of the barrel, I got to put She-Hulk.
God.
It is,
wow.
There is nothing more painful for me to watch than a show or a movie that is desperately trying to be funny and it's just not funny. Again, I'm not going to deny it, the fact that the show has its moments. Ray, you mentioned earlier the Daredevil stuff in it I thought was pretty fun. It definitely had a few jokes here and there. It has some things going for it, but just watching this show trying to be funny and it just constantly dropping humor that was just hitting the floor and not doing anything, it became excruciating sometimes to watch. And the funny thing is, I hope they do a season 2, because if they can if they can do what Rings of Power has done, which is identify all the many, 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 many things they did wrong and improve those, correct those.
Yeah.
I still think a She-Hulk show being led by Tatiana Maslany could be something really good, but it's got to be down at the bottom of my list. Yeah. She-Hulk comes in at number 10. At number 9 is a show that I think a lot of us had a lot of excitement for. I mean, hell, it's being led by Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh my God, I can't believe you
Secret Invasion.
Yeah, I can't believe you stayed with it. I dropped it off after 2 episodes.
I just could not believe in it.
Yeah, I understand.
I just could not believe in it.
I mean, leading up to this, you and Rob were just geeking out about it so much. It was just like,
the comic book series was...
the way it read.
Well, the comic book series was completely different.
No, I'm talking about...
I had the script.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I read, I prevented myself from getting too far ahead, but I read the first number of episodes. And this is a great example of how sometimes you can have a script and it not translate well on screen. Because I was really excited about the script. I really liked the script, but it just played out differently. I mean, it's clearly the same thing. This is the script they used to make this. It just played out differently. And one of the most atrocious. What's the point of this? Oh yeah, Emilia Clarke. Yeah, she's gonna have every superpower. Oh God. I mean, it was just so excruciatingly bad. I mean, and you had Director Krennic, the actor who plays Director Krennic, and is in Bloodline. And
oh crap.
Anyway,
yeah.
You have him in there, which should have been great. You have Samuel Jackson, which should have been great. I mean, I thought a lot of people complain about the death of Maria Hill. I thought that was
Ben Mendelsohn.
Ben Mendelsohn, who is amazing. The death of Maria Hill is one of the highlights of the show. Not because I don't love Maria Hill, I do, but that was truly a shocking moment. And that was the thing that I read in the screenplay when I was reading the script. When I read I'm like, oh, like it was, but my God, like and none of it, they never answered a fundamental question. Hey, Nick, if the world is at stake here, you think maybe you should call an Avenger or two?
No, not yet. I have my timing.
Oh, and they never had any rationale. It was just, this is something I got to deal with. Fuck you, Nick. I live on this planet. My mom lives on this planet. We're all going to die. Call a fucking Avenger. No, I got to deal with this myself. What? It never made any sense.
And in the first 2 episodes, like I actually thought that Kingsley Ben Adir, he was in Barbie too.
Yeah, he was. He was one of the Kens.
The only thing that was actually pretty good in those first 2 episodes, from what I thought.
Yep. By the way, now I see some people in the live chat saying, well, they couldn't bring in Avengers because of budget costs. Then as a writer, you need to come up with a feasible, plausible reason that Nick can't go and get one of the Avengers. You got to come up with more than, I got to deal with this myself.
Money can't be the reason you don't write good.
Yes.
Write well.
I mean, it just never made sense. Anyway,
right.
This is not meant to be a full autopsy of Secret Invasion, but at number 10, I got She-Hulk. At number 9, Secret Invasion. All right, now we go up to number 8.
What could it be?
Another show that I was really excited about until I saw Hawkeye, Echo. This is, again, and it's a missed opportunity because this was a show that had a lot of the really good building blocks. Echo could have been an interesting character. Unfortunately, they made her a completely uninteresting character in Hawkeye. So whatever enthusiasm there was in advance kind of got petered out because of the way they made her in that. Then the whole thing with the daddy issues with Kingpin, and none of it made it. Oh yeah, you shot me in the face, but it's all okay now. We're fine. We're good. And it's like, we're so good that I want you to come back in the family. I'm going to stick here. Oh, I'm going to kill everybody. I mean, it just...
That's exactly...
It just...
That's exactly how Kingpin's reaction video. I mean, I did... This is the first time we were introduced to, like, really, like, gross, like, violence, right? In a Disney...
Hey, give it its flowers. So, much like Acolyte, when it came time for action, the action looked pretty good. Like, yeah, absolutely give it that.
Wow.
But it's just that you have a character that could be so interesting, and they just found a way to not make her interesting. And I'm sorry. The guy who runs the pawn shop can just remake this prosthetic super, like, stop. Just stop. Anyway, it was better than She-Hulk, and it was better than Secret Invasion. Again, it had its upside. The action was quite good. I really like the stuff again, with Daredevil. Daredevil seems to be a saving grace in these bottom feeding shows.
Oh, yeah. When the cameo is your favorite
just
part
so
of a
Daredevil
show,
in there.
That's not a good sign.
I forgive you for shooting me in the face. Come home with me. No, I really want to stay here. I'm going to kill everybody you love. Drove me crazy. Anyway, so at number 10, She-Hulk. At number 9, Secret Invasion. At number 8, Echo. Okay. So now we're starting to get up into the not terrible, but not good. This next one, I must admit, I never had any faith in. I never had any faith in it. Even though I liked the character, I had no faith in it. And frankly, it ended up being a little better than I thought. But anyway, at number 7 for me is Hawkeye.
Shocked. I am shocked.
Hawkeye, again, I still have it pretty low on my list. I never plan on doing a rewatch of it.
I thought it'd be lower.
Like the Christmas tree fight stuff. It's like, oh, I'm stuck on the street. Well, why don't you climb down? Anyway, it ended up being better than I thought.
I liked it.
And it had some upside. Again, who does not like Haley Steinfeld? I mean, she is adorable. She's one. By the way, she now lives with Buffalo Bills quarterback Josh Allen.
Getting serious.
It's getting serious. They live together now.
As long as
from what I understand.
As long as Florence Pugh is not living with anybody, then I'm.
The Ray's got a chance.
And she was in this show too.
Wasn't she dating the guy from?
Who cares? Who cares?
Who
cares?
We were just talking about him, Jonathan.
Zach Braff.
Her and Zach Braff were together for a long time.
For a while.
Who cares?
And didn't they have like a 20-year age difference or something? Good on you, Zach Braff.
Good on me for my.
Good on Ray for her still being available now.
Yeah, I mean, the stuff like, okay, the Christmas tree, stuff like he's a trained assassin, whatever, he's giving her tips, and she's just like blundering through, like, I don't have to listen to you. I've got this. I'm like, that the first time I forgive you. The second or third time you still did not listen to the master assassin, maybe I should stop, like, caring about your character.
But I'll give them this. Right? Like the setup of her, Kate Bishop, where like I did enjoy that at the beginning of the show they tied into the events of the first Avengers movie when the Chitauri invasion was happening, and she's literally looking out her window and seeing Hawkeye do all of his cool stuff, and that set her on a lifelong path. See, what a lot of these shows do sometimes is they find something, it's like, oh, I'm inspired. I'm going to be a superhero. And hence we get Captain Buckles and Arrow shows. Like, I'm going to take a couple of night boxing classes. At least with this, Kate Bishop literally, as from being a young child, dedicated her life to becoming like Hawkeye. And there was some pretty cool stuff. Like the guy who ended up being like her sort of stepdad.
Right. Oh, I like that.
I ended up really liking him.
Yeah.
And
I think we'll see more of him maybe. But also, it was just like, there's 6 episodes, and we have to watch him like track down his suit from like a LARPing crew. It was like, why are you wasting our time with this?
Yeah, anyway. But speaking of the Tracksuit Mafia.
Listen, I don't care what anybody ever said. Yeah. I like the Tracksuit Mafia. Yeah, I don't care what anybody says. So again, look, did I enjoy Hawkeye? No. But did I enjoy it more than I thought? Yeah, I did. And it definitely had some upside. So it comes in at number 7 for me.
Quick question. Did that come off the heels of WandaVision?
Well, it came after WandaVision.
Yeah, the show right after.
No. Was it Falcon and Winter Soldier was the one that came right out after. All right, so number 10, She-Hulk. Number 9, Secret Invasion. Number 8, Echo. Number 7, Hawkeye. At number 6 is a show that for me went right down to the wire. Right down to the final episode, where we said going into the final episode, this final episode will determine whether I like the show or don't really like the show. It went south, unfortunately, but there was a good part of this show that was still pretty good. Moon Knight. Moon Knight was another show for me that I think had a lot going for it, actually. You had a terrific performance by
Oscar
Isaac, who I thought was terrific in the show. The mythology they built around it. Again, the action and the fight sequences were really good. They had a couple of killer episodes. A couple of the episodes were banger. Some not so much. And again, I don't think they stuck the landing. I didn't really like the finale so much. So overall, not a show that I'll probably ever go back and watch again. But it had a bunch of things going for it. And so I'm going to have it at my number 6 spot.
That premiere where he's in the restroom and he first turns into Moon Knight.
Oh, I
still get goosebumps thinking about it.
Again, started super strong. Woo. Started super strong. So Moon Knight, again, it's on the lower half, but a show that had a lot going for it. I'm going to put it up at number 6. All right, now we get into my top 5.
Here we go.
At number 5, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I think it's safe for me to say that of all the shows on the list, that was the one going into Disney Plus that was the one I was most looking forward to. And it kind of delivered. it kind of delivered. It definitely had some wonderful, memorable stuff. I could watch Sam and Bucky like doing stuff together. One of my favorite Marvel Disney Plus scenes ever is when Sam realizes that his sister and Bucky are kind of flirting a little bit.
Yeah.
That was like one of my favorite things in the show.
And don't forget Baron Zemo, Daniel Bruhl.
Daniel Bruhl, yeah, one of the greatest mixed martial arts, one of the greatest hand-to-hand combat fighters in the history of the planet, Georges St. Pierre, came back of Batroc the Leaper. You had this stuff with Elijah, which is setting up stuff that we're going to see because we saw Elijah is in Captain America 4.
Right.
They went back to all that. They did some really cool things. They also dropped the ball a little bit, like the whole... The villain organization didn't make a lot of sense and all that kind of stuff. And it really kind of prevented it from being as good, I think, as it could have been. Anthony Mackie showed he can lead an MCU property. And so...
Wyatt Russell.
And yeah, listen, Wyatt Russell, who I hated at first, by the end of it, I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
They gave depth to this character.
Yeah.
They gave him depth and
Really
with
liked it.
mixed motivations and stuff like that. And I actually ended up liking Walmart Captain
I think I
America.
was more forgiving after I watched Monarch.
Yeah. See, that's
And
why
then I was
wanna
like,
go
no,
back.
I like him. I've always liked Kurt Russell, and so it's fine.
U.S. agent, baby.
All right. So at number 5, I've got Falcon and the Winter Soldier. At number 4, Agatha All Along. And I remember, again, this is premature. We're only talking about the first 2 episodes. By the time this show's done, I'm sure it'll be in a different spot. But for now, just based on the first 2 episodes, I've got Agatha All Along in my number 4 spot.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see the series end and to see where it falls.
I hope-
If all or if it goes up.
What if it ends like She-Hulk? I
That's what-
mean,
yeah. I
but
cannot wait.
for
Well, this has a
now-
disclaimer. It's a disclaimer.
For now, based just on the first, let's pretend the first 2 episodes was it. That was the whole series. I would have it at my number 4. Not the best, but in that middle section, right? I think the writing was very good. I like the narrative flow. They're setting up a terrific mythology. My God, the Salem 7 were freaky as hell. Freaky as hell. I loved Aubrey Plaza. Catherine Hahn is a goddess. She can do no wrong. So for now, I'm going to say Agatha is number 4. All right. Getting into my top 3. I'm combining. It's a little bit. I thought about separating them out into 2 separate seasons, but then we'd have 11 on the list. Loki is at number 3. Now, Loki for me is a little bit of a weird thing because Loki is one of my absolute favorite Marvel characters. I'm not talking the comic books. I mean, in the MCU, Tom Hiddleston's Loki, probably number 2 or 3 of my favorite Marvel characters. I love Loki so much. I was a little disappointed with season 1. Like, I still liked it. I liked season 1, but I was a little bit disappointed in it. I thought season 2 was a step up from season 1. And I quite enjoyed Loki. Again, I was hoping it would be a little bit better just because I love the character so much and I love Tom Hiddleston's portrayal of him. But it was very solid. I thought, again, season 2 was a step up from season 1, which makes me hope we get a season 3 someday because maybe that'll be even better. So for me, Loki is at number 3.
With Morbius. Don't forget Owen Wilson.
Yeah,
He
Morbius.
was
I
great.
mean, he was one of the big
Mobius.
reasons.
Yeah, Mobius, sorry.
Yeah,
Morbius.
Mobius. Owen Wilson is honestly one of the big reasons the show
Yeah,
is as
great.
enjoyable as it is. I'm not saying he's the main reason, but I'm saying without him, Loki maybe drops down to like number 5.
Oh,
but,
absolutely,
But Owen
absolutely.
Wilson is great, and I love the dynamic. Like, one of the key things to any good movie or show, comic book, drama, period piece, whatever, is the dynamic between your lead characters. And the dynamic between Tom Hiddleston and Owen Wilson is firecracker.
Yep.
Love it. Love their dynamic together.
Absolutely.
And one of the reasons why I like the show as much as I do. All right. At number 2, I know is not going to be a popular thing, but I don't give a crap. Ms. Marvel is the number 2. This show, it won me over in the first 10 minutes. The pure charm and joy of it. It's a why am I freezing on the name of the guy who did all the great 80s movies? John
Hughes.
Hughes. It
Right.
it literally was a perfect mixture of a John Hughes film in a modern sort of context. and it just had it. And I never went more than 2 or 3 minutes in any episode of Ms. Marvel without a giant smile on my face. One of the remember I was talking about like one of the greatest moments ever in an MCU show was that one of the other greatest scenes ever in a Disney Plus Marvel show, to me, because it was funny and emotional and heartwarming all at the same time, was when Kamala is talking, like she's trying to get her parents to let her go to this Avengers Con. They're like, no, you can't go. It's dangerous. And then so the parents, you know what? She wants to go. The dad goes and dresses up like the Hulk. And he comes in all excited because now you get to go. Like, I'm getting emotional just thinking about it. He loves his daughter so much that while they're too worried to let her go by herself, he's like, you know what? I'll do something I would never do. I'm going to dress up like the Hulk for my daughter. And then when she acts in disgust,
I know,
like she's embarrassed by her dad, you could see her dad's heart break. Yeah. It's like, fuck teenagers, man. But you could literally see her dad's heart break. And I don't care what anybody says. Alien invasion, superpowers, mega blasts. I don't care. That's one of the best scenes in a Marvel TV show.
He had it coming.
Yeah. It is seriously one of the best scenes in a Marvel TV show. And that joy, that warmth, that charm, to me, just kind of soaked in the entire series. And I think it's wonderful. And again, I know that's not the popular pick, but I don't care what the popular pick is. For me, Ms. Marvel is that
did
number
we
2.
just see him? What trailer did we see him in just recently? Was it Captain America?
No, it's
he pops up in a trailer.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh no, Daredevil.
Daredevil, yes,
Born Again. That's right. Kamala's dad is in Daredevil. He's a banker in it.
And like one of the things that I like, if they go over a part where superheroes starting to learn their powers, you know,
Yes.
I do like whenever they showcase that. I mean, a lot of these shows are already established superheroes, other than the Hawkeye, Kate Bishop, and her. But Miss Marvel pulled it off way better.
And by the way, the ending of which was it, the ending of Hawkeye or the ending of Ms. Marvel? I'm going to say Ms. Marvel. At the ending, or was it one of the movies? Which one had the ending where Kate Bishop comes home? It was at the end of the Marvels. That's what it was. So I still don't think they're going to do a Young Avengers, or should they do a Young Avengers? But I got to say, man, that was a great little scene when Kamala's sitting in Kate Bishop's house. She goes and trying to pull Nick Fury. I'm putting a team together, sort of thing. I thought that was just charming.
And she was like, I'm like 26 or whatever. She said like 28.
I liked it a lot. So
she did an incredible job as her debut as an actress in this series.
Yeah, no, she was great in it. I love the show. She's wonderful. I really need them to do a second one. The Ms. Marvel character brings a dimension to the MCU that it doesn't have. That just something like that, and they need to keep
the mom, everything.
Oh, the family.
The family was great.
The brother's fiance, her best friends.
Right. Absolutely.
It's great. It's absolutely great. And you know, it's really sad to me that there are some people who are all just explosions, can't see how brilliant this show is.
But then I don't know where they're happy, because a lot of the shows that have that are also the ones that are like poorly written. So it's just like,
yeah. Anyway, which leads us to number 1, which is the obvious thing. It's WandaVision. By far the best thing Marvel has done so far, the most complex, the most deep. Listen, we have not had in the history of our show, nothing has dominated our show like WandaVision did. Because for those of you who remember when it first came out, it was 2+ months of non-stop WandaVision. And I'm talking about what you guys wrote in every day.
Yep, water cooler talk.
Every single show for 2.5 months was dominated by questions you guys sent in, and it was like 80% of them were all surrounding WandaVision. New theories, new, oh my God, this, and new ideas, and new, like it was WandaVision. Not the topics we were creating, is what you guys were writing in. And like, we haven't seen that replicated.
The severance effect.
Yeah. And we have not seen that replicated with any of the Disney shows, any of the Disney Plus Marvel shows yet. Not Ms. Marvel, not Agatha. Well, maybe Agatha will, who knows, but not Falcon the Winter Soldier, not Loki, nothing. Nothing has replicated that. And fortunately and unfortunately, it was their first show. It was Disney Plus. It was Marvel's first Disney Plus show. But I mean, it really got them hitting the ground off and running, and is still to this day not even close. It is by far the best show that Marvel's put on Disney Plus. The highest quality writing, the highest quality acting, the highest quality. It got everybody buzzing and talking, and the water cooler stuff. It just there. So again, to summarize and wrap up, my rankings of the 10 Disney Marvel Disney Plus shows are: at number 10, She-Hulk; at number 9, Secret Invasion; at number 8, Echo; at number 7, Hawkeye; at number 5, Moon Knight; at number 6, Moon Knight. Yeah, number 6, Moon Knight; number 5, Falcon and the Winter Soldier; number 4, Agatha, which will move when we get to the end of the series; at number 3, Loki; at number 2, Ms. Marvel; and at number 1, the obvious one, WandaVision. So that's how we got it. Question is for you guys. How would you do your list? Probably a lot of your picks will be close to the ones I have. Maybe you'll have one or two things completely in different spots. Maybe your list is completely reversed. Maybe you think She-Hulk is the greatest show they've ever made. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, it's time for us to move on to the most important part of our show, which is taking your live comments and questions. But before we do, we're going to take another quick moment here and thank another sponsor of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at The Perfect Gene. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, The Perfect Gene. Okay, so I've got to tell you about The Perfect Gene. These jeans are seriously a game changer. You know that feeling you get when you find a pair of jeans that fit so well that you almost forget that you're wearing them? That's what happened when I tried these. I'm not kidding. They're as comfortable as your favorite sweatpants, and they can slide on like them too, but they still look amazing. Look, as guys, we've all suffered through stiff, uncomfortable jeans, but The Perfect Gene is all about recusing, well, your gentlemanly area. These jeans are soft, stretchy, and they fit like they were custom made just for you. Because they've got an insane range of sizes, whether you're a skinny jeans kind of guy or rocking the bigger look. And they didn't just stop with jeans, they've got the perfect tee as well, with just the right amount of stretch to hide that beer belly, but still make you look great. It's finally time to stop crushing your balls in uncomfortable jeans by going to theperfectgene.nyc. Our listeners get 15% off your first order, plus free shipping, free returns, and free exchanges when you use the code Campea15 at checkout. That's 15% off for new customers at theperfectgene.nyc with the promo code Campea15. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show by telling them that we sent you. F your khakis and get The Perfect Gene. And thank you to our friends at The Perfect Gene for giving me great, ball-expanding, wonderful room to grow space in my pants, and
I don't
for
think you want your
sponsoring
balls to
today's episode.
expand.
You might want to see a doctor about that, Campea. Ball expanding. Anyway, yes, just so much room, so much room for activities. In The Perfect Gene for sponsoring
Liberty
today's
Bell.
episode of the John Campea Show podcast.
Do you have mumps?
Who's that, Randy in South Park?
Oh, God.
All right.
All right.
With that down, guys, let's move on to the important stuff. Your topics and questions, shall we? Jonathan, what we got up first?
All right, bit of a trigger warning here for John and maybe those at home. Hi, John. Rev Matt says, hi, John. Just wanted to give you some hope after hearing your AMC rant again. Here in London, on Ontario, I think, we have one of the smaller chains, Imagine Cinemas, that brought back Cheap Tuesdays for summer. Deals can be had. You just have to come back north of the border. $5 for any ticket and $5 for any individual concession. The promo seems to have some traction here. Definitely gives consumers incentive. I know AMC does do Tuesday $5 things, but not with their concessions.
Yeah, and look, again, it's I'm not going to revisit the entire thing, but yeah, there are some deals to be found. AMC A-List is a fabulous thing. Regal Unlimited is a fabulous thing, yes. But it just goes back to the main point of it, that this latest price increase is just that, the latest price increase. The movie theater industry right now, and it goes on to the movies themselves, from shrinking theatrical windows and the prices of everything and all that kind of stuff, that they are constantly trying. They are losing moviegoers, and they make up for that loss by charging the moviegoers who still go more, which then causes more moviegoers to stop going to the movies. And then they try to make up for that by charging the ones who are still going more. The basic principle is they're not doing enough to bring people back to the movie theaters. I've given 6 or 7 big things over, the last month, year, 2 years about what I think they need to do. And that's really the problem. But yes, here and there's the odd good thing. It's just too little, way too little. All right, what's next?
Anonymous says, have you seen the trailer for the movie The Apprentice with Jeremy Strong and Sebastian Stan? It looks very good. I can't wait to see it. It was being blocked by a certain you-know-who, but now they got a release date, and it's out in October.
I have seen the trailer. Sebastian Stan looks brilliant. I'm not really... it's just... Look, we try to avoid politics as much as we can here on the show, and so... I'm not really going to give a lot of opinion on it, except to say I thought it was a good trailer. I thought it was a pretty decent trailer. Obviously, I love Sebastian Stan, love Jeremy Strong. We just saw him actually, ran into him at the Hollywood Bowl. Anyway, so yeah, good looking trailer, but that's all I'll say about it for now. All right, what's next?
Oscar Wolfgang says, hiya. I have the opportunity to meet Martin Scorsese.
Nice.
Skip, overrated. And I was wondering, if you had the opportunity, what would some questions you would ask one of the biggest goats in the game? Thanks for promoting healthy discussions, fan culture, revolutionary. I don't even know what I would ask that man. He's an encyclopedia of film.
Yeah. So some of you have heard this story.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm sure some of you have not. This is a true story. I don't like to fly. I do fly when I need to, whatever, because when I go home to Canada or stuff like that, I do fly. I just don't like it. I have a fear of heights. Don't know when I got my fear of heights. I used to do crazy shit off my roof when I was younger, but at some point along the way, sometime between 17 and 22, I developed a fear of heights, and I'm very uncomfortable when I fly. But so we get this invitation. I get an invitation to fly to New York to a special, I think it was a 40th anniversary a 40th or 50th anniversary screening of Taxi Driver. That was being done at the Directors Guild of America, New York Theater, where Martin Scorsese was going to be. And they asked me if I wanted to go do an interview with Martin Scorsese after the screening. Who says no to that? So me and Dennis Zen, and Dennis had other things he was wanting to do, but it's it's Martin Scorsese. Yeah, I guess we got to go. So Dennis and I don't like New York. So Dennis and I get on a plane in Los Angeles, take a 5.5-hour flight to New York, get checked in quick. But before we get checked in, we land in New York, 5.5-hour flight. Turn back on my phone, and there's a few text messages waiting for me. Martin had to cancel. Are you shitting me? 5.5-hour flight, canceled all these plans.
To go see a movie.
Flew across the country. Now, fortunately, I got to meet and interview a couple of really cool people just hanging around, like Sam from Moon, Sam Rockwell. That's where I met Sam Rockwell for the first time.
Okay.
Well, we were standing around in the foyer of the thing, and I got to meet Sam Rockwell there. I got to meet a few other really cool people, and that was nice, and got to see the screening and being... But we flew all the way there, got off, and it was a terrible flight. Got off the flight, checked the phones. Martin had to cancel. And so then we're like, well, let's go check into the hotel. Fucking rat hotel. It was horrible. I won't even go into all the stories about how horrible this hotel was. And so we get on the plane the next morning and fly 5.5 hours back. But yes. So, what would I have asked Martin Scorsese? I'll tell him, hey, Martin, why'd you cancel the interview that I flew all the way across the country to do? That was what I would ask Martin Scorsese.
Yeah, he feels bad for it every day.
But he is one of the all-time greats. Of course he is. All right, what's next?
We got Tawdry Gossip, who says, do you think it's possible they're splitting the awards category for Arrivo lead and Grande supporting in Wicked 1 because they'll submit the opposite for Wicked Part 2, Grande for lead, Arrivo for supporting?
Well, that's not why they're doing it. I think that's just their approach. I mentioned to somebody that I think that's what they're going to do. I said, I'll bet you anything when you get to Part 2, they'll probably promote Ariana for lead and Arrivo as supporting. I mean, I don't know that for a fact, but my guess is that's what they'll probably do. All right, what's next?
Captain Latin America says,
yeah.
Hey, John and crew, greetings from Guatemala. I was wondering why Lucasfilms has not come up with new IP. We have Star Wars and Indy, barely Willow. Do you think Lucasfilms should start coming up with new IP? Would they? Fan for years, bring on the filthy.
This is a question that's it's a good question, but it's a question that's been around for decades. Like, I remember we've literally been talking about this since my movie blog days, and then at AMC, and then it's a question that gets brought up a lot. But the same question you could ask of Marvel Studios. Like, shouldn't you make something else other than just comic book movies? Well, that's what they are. Lucasfilm, for good or for ill, they are a Star Wars company. Also Indiana Jones to a lesser degree. The thing is, they're having a hard enough time just getting out Star Wars movies. Like, what the hell are they going to do? Put out another Howard the Duck? Was Howard the Duck Lucasfilm?
I think it's Marvel, right? I don't know. I'd have to look.
I can't remember. For some reason, I got an itch in my head that Howard the Duck was Lucasfilm, but I'm probably wrong about that. Yeah, and then they had Willow.
Yeah, it is.
The Howard the Duck was Lucasfilm?
Yeah.
Okay. Then they had Willow. But honestly, I think what they should do is really, look, if you can't even get Star Wars, like, how are you going to get anything else out? So I think they need to focus on, look, Star Wars is still an IP that can be so vast and so rich and so good that should be the main focus of the company. Focus on Star Wars. Maybe get a little side division that can focus and think about the future of Indiana Jones, but no, I don't think they should be doing that. It's like Pixar. Hey, Pixar's just doing nothing but animated movies. Maybe they should do something else. Well, that's what they are. They are an animated company. Lucasfilm is for better or for worse, and they'll tell you, no, we're so much more than just Star Wars. But no, come on, let's be serious.
Let's go Skeleton Crew.
Lucasfilm, yeah, I am looking forward to Skeleton Crew, but Lucasfilm is a Star Wars company. And I think they need to get that ship in order before they even start thinking about doing anything else. All right, what's next?
Beeper Yell says, what are the chances that the upcoming film Mufasa will have an addendum on screen saying, in loving memory of our dear friend James Earl Jones, and his voice saying something poignant from The Lion King over it? They might just say, like, dedicated to.
Yeah, dedicated
in
to
memory
to our king or something like that. The unfortunate reality, what's the release date again? Is it December or November?
It's in December.
So, like, right now we're in September, October, November. Like, the thing is, it's gonna if
December 20.
Okay, so if Mufasa was opening sooner, I'd say 100% yes. The fact is, it's going to be 3 or 4 months after the passing away of James Earl Jones. I still think there'll be like a little something. I don't know if we'll hear a line, but saying in loving memory of James Earl Jones or something, probably something along those lines. All right, what's next?
The Super Ranger says, hey, John and crew, I've been recently thinking about some of my favorite movies of Robin Williams I had as a kid. My top 2 is probably Flubber and Bicentennial Man. Great flicks, bring on the filthy.
I'm going to admit, I'm not a huge fan of Bicentennial Man.
I love Bicentennial.
Did you?
Yeah. It's a robot.
Yep. Not my favorite one of his. That's fine. I mean, I know it's animated, but I still always go back to Aladdin. But I go more to even when I was younger, the dramatic stuff, like Dead Poets Society that was a performance for the ages.
Yeah, I tend to prefer his more dramatic roles.
Good Morning Vietnam, another movie he could have won an Academy Award for. Good Will Hunting, which I believe that's what he did win his Academy Award for, was Good Will Hunting. And you know, he would have won a second one if it wasn't for the fact that he was nominated in the same year that Michael Douglas was nominated for Wall Street. Because nobody was going to beat Michael Douglas in Wall Street that year. But if it wasn't for Michael Douglas being in Wall Street that year, Robin Williams would have had 2 Academy Awards on his mantle. I mean, there's so many of them.
Man of the Year.
I get that's another one I didn't love so much. But you know, it's a really underrated one, and nobody ever talks about it.
1 Hour Photo.
No, that's a good one though. I like 1 Hour Photo. I think his most underrated one that nobody ever talks about, and it's one when I was a little. I mean, granted, it came out when I was a little kid. The World According to Garp. I think The World According to Garp, I never hear anybody talk about it. It's a really good it's a solid movie. I rewatched it again about a decade ago, but anyway. All right, what's next?
And Patch Adams.
I hear a lot of people bring up Patch Adams.
Okay.
We just talked about Patch Adams on the show yesterday, remember?
Okay.
All right, what's next?
Yeah, stay out of it, Ray.
Okay, man.
Robert Doomy Jr. says 20 minutes of trailers is one thing, but one thing that's been pissing me off lately about my local Regal theater is that the pre-trailer ads will run 10 minutes past the posted time. Crazy. I don't even, maybe I don't get in the theater early enough to see ads before, but.
Yeah, but you know what's, again, is now really starting to bug me too, even more? Yes, everybody already knows I'm already bothered by the Nicole Kidman ad. Like, guys, you've literally made me watch this ad over 100 times now. I'm so fucking sick of it. Stop it. Start the movie. It used to be that often before a movie would start, you would get a one little quick thing of, hey guys, go out to the concession stand and buy yourself some popcorn and buy yourself a drink,
what you're
right?
about to talk about.
That's fine. That's fine. But now we have a thank you for coming to AMC, celebrating 100 years. Great, there's a little AMC spot. And then we have the Nicole Kidman spot. And then we have a go buy some soda and Coke with the dancing couple.
Off, baby.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's not over. So we have the thank you for coming 100 years of AMC, blah, blah, blah. And then Nicole Kidman. And then go buy some soda and pop. And then, like, if you're watching it in a Prime Dolby, like we usually do, they always do the Prime Dolby thing too. It's like, I've literally now, on top of the 20 plus minutes of trailers, I've now just sat through like 6 or 7 minutes of just you running ads for the theater. I'm already fucking sitting here. Start the goddamn movie.
Look,
anyway,
they shortened the Nicole Kidman ad just to add 2 more ads to it. Sometimes in some screenings it's the full Nicole Kidman ad, and sometimes
you
it's
get
a short.
the full Kidman.
IMAX ad, Dolby ad, 3D ad, soda and popcorn. Thanks for coming. You're at AMC where we make movies better. It's like, guys, I'm here. I'm here. I bought a ticket, I came, and I'm here. You don't have to, again, my analogy still stands. It's like trying to get a girl to look at your Tinder profile when you're already in the middle of having sex with her. Like, it makes no sense. You're already in. I'm here. You don't have to show me 8 more minutes of commercials about trying to convince me to come to AMC theaters. I'm freaking here. Anyway, sorry. Let's move on. What's next?
Batman Sadman says, Penguin Game Day.
Yes, sir.
Batman Sadman?
Yeah. So I rewatched the Batman last night in preparation, and I forgot how phenomenal it is, and it gets extra points for giving me tears at the end when the woman reaches for Batman's arms. The Dark Knight never made me cry, so it might be second for me.
Look, the Batman, again, I don't think it's as good as The Dark Knight, but it's a fabulous movie. I still think a little too long. I think they could have shaved about 10, 15 minutes off of it and given it a crisper pace. But still, that Batman movie is absolutely fabulous. It was very unique from any other Batman movie we've seen before. And again, Colin Farrell as Oswald is just so good as Penguin. I cannot wait to see that show tonight, man. I'm dying to see it. All right, what's next?
Sam says, finally convinced my wife to watch Superman. I wasn't sure she'd like it because She doesn't usually like old movies, but she loved it. If there's one thing better than falling in love with a movie, it's watching someone you love. It's watching someone you love fall in love with a movie.
You know what? I am so there with you. One of my, you guys have heard me say this before.
Right.
One of my favorite things to do is to rewatch a movie I love with somebody else who has never seen it. I love that. It's like, seriously, Ann and I are talking about taking some friends of ours to go see Transformers 1 this weekend and haven't seen it yet, right? I love that. Doesn't matter if it's a movie I've seen 40 times. Sometimes we'll have some friends over. It's like, you've never seen this? Let's watch it right now. Like, I love that experience. I love that feeling. And I remember I had that feeling with Ann when, well, obviously when she had never seen the Star Wars movies before we got together, but also when I found out she had never seen Moulin Rouge. It's like, ooh, I know what we're doing tonight, baby. And watching Moulin, like, I love that experience. It's so cool.
I can't believe you've never seen The Terminal. Let's go see it.
I've seen The Terminal.
No, you haven't. Not
the right way. You got to watch it without your butthole. You got to watch it with your eyes. All right, what's next?
John says, Rings of Power is so good, where the Lord of the Rings movies only told you to be afraid of Sauron after episode 6. I'm sold on him being the ultimate baddie. He's basically all the Infinity Stones rolled into one person. That reality war.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. But I've read some comments from people who saying, I have now never hated a character as much as I hate Sauron on television like I do now. So it sounds like they're doing pretty good. Again, I haven't seen the new episode yet. I'm going to watch that a little bit later today. All right, what's next?
Julia Goodwin says, as a Christmas Carol-holic, the fact that we never got James Earl Jones as Scrooge in film will forever make me mad now. Imagine the voice of Mufasa saying, bah humbug, to quote, good times, damn, damn, damn.
I don't know that he would have been he was a great actor. He could have been anything.
George C. Scott, though, and he had a great voice.
Oh, yeah. He was a great Scrooge.
Yeah.
I came across a YouTube video yesterday, I want to say, that was kind of a collage and montage of great James Earl Jones performances. But I'm telling you what, guys, I know there's probably still a lot of you that have still never seen the original Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah.
There's this great scene where he doesn't say a word. It's all face. It's just all facial expression. Where he confronts Conan's mother. It's when he chops her head off, beheads Conan's mother. And the whole performance is all done just with his face. It's just this subtle music, no dialogue, and it's brilliant. And then, of course, there's that key scene. Harv's K in the live chat just pointed out, there's this key scene. He goes, steel is not strong, boy. Flesh is stronger. Behold. And he looks up to a girl, one of his followers up on a cliff. He goes, come, my child. And the girl just walks off the cliff and falls to her death. He goes, that is strength, boy. I mean, it's just like, James Earl Jones was so good.
I was terrified of that.
Oh, he was so good. Anyway. All right. What's next?
Gator says, finally saw Beetlejuice 2 last night. Kind of hated it. There's maybe 10 minutes of stuff in there I enjoyed. The rest I thought was garbage. One of the worst movies I've seen this year, up there with Madam Web, Strangers, Chapter 1, and Godzilla X Kong.
Oh, I like Godzilla X Kong. Whatever. It's all subjective. I'm in agreement. Beetlejuice will end up being in my top 10 worst films of the year list. But there are a lot of people who are enjoying it, and I love that people are enjoying it. I'm glad people are getting some excitement and fun out of it, and that's important. I didn't like it, and that's okay. But I'm more like, I didn't think it was as bad as Madam Web, but it's going to be in my top 10 worst films of the year. Oh my God!
And he brought up Strangers Chapter 1. I get mad every time.
That's another one that will be in my worst 10 films of the year list. Ugh. All right, what's next?
Garden Variety Vagabond says, John asked for the mark across the teen's mouth in Agatha. I would suggest that it is a use of Chekhov's gun. The writing on the library card is to introduce Wanda's W, which is the center of the mark across his mouth.
I still disagree. And I could be wrong. I might end up being wrong, but I'm just saying for now, I disagree. I think it was just like stitching. It was an animation of stitching. And then people went, oh, it's a W. No, it's an M. No, I really just think it was meant to be stitching. Magical, metaphysical stitching across the mouth. But again, I might be wrong about that. That's what I kind of think. All right, what's next?
We got. Let me scroll up here. We got Garden Variety's back. Chris, well, she's not here.
She's not here today.
Yeah.
She's never here on Thursdays.
Are you familiar with My Vampire Diary on Pocket FM? It seems like the narrator is AI. Is it? And two, what do you think about the use of AI voicing in projects? It frankly takes me out of the story at times with odd annotations and mispronouncing. We can answer some of that. What are your feelings on AI? And well, I don't like it personally with narration.
Yeah, and obviously Chris isn't here. I'll say this. I am a YouTube-aholic. Like, I'm on YouTube all the time.
Me too.
Like out of every 10 hours that my TV is on, probably good 8 of those hours are on YouTube. So I go through a lot of videos on YouTube and stuff like that. But I've come to the point now where as soon as I recognize the fake voice,
I know exactly.
I click off.
Yeah.
I just refuse to watch any, not out of principle. It's just that they're all the same. So I don't watch any of those anymore.
Me and Jonathan were actually having a conversation when Chris was here about that, where I was like, I found this channel that has all these interesting subjects and topics, but I realized that they use the same voice as another channel that I watched that is like lesser.
Yeah.
But that voice I cannot stand anymore. I mean, it's a great voice, but not for. I want it a little more personal on YouTube. You know?
Yeah, and it's not fake.
Yeah.
It really becomes annoying when they misspelt a word in the script that they uploaded, and you can hear the voice then say the misspelling.
Or it's the wrong type of voice. Like some voices have like a theme to it, and it's for a completely wrong video for it. Like a happy video, but they use like a murder documentary voice on like a really happy subject. I hate.
Yeah, I mean, I would personally encourage anybody, when you find these YouTube channels that do automatically generated videos, like they'll use ChatGPT to write a script, and then they use some sort of AI program to put together a collage of video, and then they use some sort of AI to just put a voice to the script that was artificially made. These are people who are abusing YouTube and turning it into a cheap dollar store commodity.
Exactly.
Make sure you go out of your way, not just to skip those videos. Make sure you go in, click on it, right click on it, or if you're watching it on your TV app, hold down the press and bring up the menu where it says do not recommend channel, and make sure you block that channel out, and so it never pops up again, because like there are just too many people out there flooding the YouTube space with this garbage AI generated shit, and you need to block it. So make sure you go out of your way to block it. All right, what's next?
All right. Speaking of GPT, Chubbs GPT says there are 206 bones in the human body, 207 when I'm watching Agatha All Along, season 1, episode 1, 27 minutes, 11 seconds in. That scene was powerful.
If you're talking about,
oh my God, is he talking about what we were talking about earlier?
I don't know, but we'd have to figure that out when you watch it.
By the way, how old is Catherine Hahn?
Oh, it doesn't matter.
She's got to be in her. I mean, she doesn't look it, but I'm guessing she's been
51.
around. Yeah, I was going to say, I think she's in her late 40s or early 50s.
51. She looks great.
Wow. She looks awesome. Yeah. I love her. She's so great. Agatha. Anyway. All right, what's next?
All right. Well, Chief says, so far I really like the Agatha show, so I hope they keep the quality past this point. Do you think they will finally reveal that the mysterious animal's rabbit is he who will not be named?
No, I don't think it's Mephisto. There are several mysteries right now. What is the deal with Mrs. Hart from next door? Because I don't think she's just the innocent bystander. I think there's going to be something to her. Mm-hmm. What or who is the rabbit? And most primarily, who's the teen? And then there's another mystery. What's the deal between Catherine Hahn and Aubrey Plaza? Yep. So there are several things to be unfolded here, and that's one of them. But I don't think it's going to end up that the rabbit is Mephisto. Then again, in WandaVision, I didn't think Catherine Hahn's character was going to end up being Agatha Harkness. Mm-hmm. I thought, it's too obvious, so it's not going to be Agatha Harkness. It turns out it was Agatha Harkness, so who knows? All right, what's next?
David says, hey, John, what did you think of Rings of Power? Well, you haven't seen it yet.
Again, haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
Cannot comment on it, but I'll definitely watch it today, and then I'll probably talk about it a little bit tomorrow. All right, what's next?
So now, actually, that's 3 things I'm going to have to watch. because I forgot. Nick James says, "Hi John, it was refreshing to hear your thoughts about Agatha all along last night. So my professional, in quotes, YouTubers who profit from hating everything or labeling everything as woke were slamming the show as the next Disney failure. Well, they've had a lot of wins for these Disney failures.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's pardon me. It's like I've said before. You can work hard and have a voice, or you can just appeal to the lowest common denominator. Like they said in Star Wars, the dark side isn't more powerful, but it's easier. It's more seductive. It's quicker. And creating hate content online gets clicks. I mean, that's just the reality of it. It's an unfortunate truth of life. I've even discovered on my channel that, like, I can put out, I'd say maybe about 10% of the content that we put out will be about us being upset about, so like really disliking something. Maybe 10%, 1 out of every 10. But it really saddens me to see that quite often those videos are the ones that get the most clicks. It's just a reality. Now, the difference is I don't see that and go, woo, well, then we need to make more angry videos. No. But a lot of other people who don't have any other legitimate way to get followers or clicks, they just then lean into that because it's simple. It's easy. Just put out hate content. And then there are a lot of people, unfortunately, in the blog and YouTube and podcasting space that they just want to bring their own political axes to grind, and they make it all about their own personal politics.
And people's order is wrong now. Sometimes they go on YouTube before they even watch the show, and then watch the show, and then have all that stuff.
No, like, because like there's a whole genre of podcast blogs and YouTubes out there that it is in their best interest. Like, they'll start hating on something before they see it. Why? Because it's in their best interest to hate it. Because that's what they attract. They want people that hate, that get angry, and they want to act all hateful and angry.
Right.
And I mean, it's unfortunate. And look, just like I was saying, when you start to recognize AI generated content, don't just avoid going to it, block it. I would suggest, and by the way, being not liking something. Look, I hated The Acolyte. I hated Ahsoka. I hated Secret Invasion. But I hated it because of what I could deem to be the quality of the show. If you start recognizing that people are hating things because that's all they do, if you start recognizing there are YouTube channels that 9 out of every 10 videos posted on their front page is this person sucks and this other thing sucks and this other thing sucks and that person sucks. If you recognize that there's a YouTube channel that does that, or you recognize that they're hating on things because of their political ideologies, I highly recommend you just block those channels.
Yeah.
But again, not channels that just don't like things, because there's going to be legitimate reasons not to like things. But
you know what's funny?
That's what I would recommend.
You know what's funny about those people too, and it's not across the board. Sometimes they are legitimately that hate-filled. Sometimes it's just like you said, it's so cynical. It's just for money, because they turn off their cameras and all of it, and then they're delightful. And I know for a fact because I've met a few of them, and it's like, wow, dude.
Also,
but
like
listen, the unfortunate thing is there are a lot of people who will just whore themselves out for hate clicks. Because to your point, I know, and I'm not going to mention anybody by name, but I saw this one video by this one person that they went out and made this like just venom-filled hate video about something. And I happen to know for a fact that's not how they felt. But you got to get the clicks. So you got to go, we're so angry. And it's just part of the thing.
And I don't think you should ever be pushed to physically hating something where you become violent about it. It's not worth anything like that. And also, like,
I don't think anybody's talking about that.
But like what you like. And if you're going to get beat up for something that you actually like, and not something that someone's pushing you to not like. I guess what I'm saying is, like, if you're going to get beat up for something you believe in.
Because look, I know, like doing an Agatha video today, I know the thing that'll get 10 times more clicks than my review saying, actually, you know what? The start of Agatha was pretty solid. I will, well, maybe not 10 times, but that video that we're about to put out later today would get 5 times the clicks if I came out and said, Agatha, horrible disappointment, with me angry on the, or like, and put Agatha on the thumbnail with glowing red eyes. And I know I could get 5 times more clicks on that, but that's not what I thought. I actually thought it was pretty solid. So I choose to make the video that's honest.
Agatha.
And I know it's going to get 5 times less clicks than if I made it hateful, but it is what it is.
Agatha forcing agenda all along.
Too much purple.
Again, but it's just...
Too many A's.
That's the giveaway, right? The thumbnails where they put somebody they don't like with the glowing red eyes or giant PNG tears or something. Anyway. All right, let's get off this topic. Let's move on. What's next?
Harv's K says, hey, John, watching your Agatha reaction discussion last night really felt like the good old days of discussing speculation on WandaVision.
That kind of did.
And how exciting and organic that felt. And then like She-Hulk episode 1, and then that fell off.
Yeah.
Sadly, something got lost along the way with the subsequent shows. Hope this lasts.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. Like look, everybody's happier when the quality of stuff we're getting is great, right? Winning cures everything. And, you know, covering the Disney Plus Marvel show was great when it was WandaVision. It was fun. It was great. It was interactive. It was just tremendous. As the quality started to fall off, started to talk. Listen, going back to the last topic too, like when I would be watching a show, I have a rule for myself. When I'm doing a show and like doing an after show for it, if I start to dislike the show, I stop doing my after show for it. And then people say, well, why? Why do you stop doing an after show? Just because you don't like the show? Because I don't want to spend my time watching something I don't like when I can spend my time watching something that I do. And I don't just want to put out video after video every week talking about how much an episode sucks. If I don't like something, I tap out of it and I move on to something I do like. And I would love for that to return to Marvel's Disney Plus thing. It hasn't done it, but it would be really fun if we could return to that.
If episode 3 is thinking, I'm done with it already. I'm only giving it 1 episode chance.
You just said 3.
Yeah, episode 3. If the next episode of Agatha starts to feel like it's going down.
So if 2 are good and 1's bad, that's
I'm
not
done.
good enough for you.
I'm done.
I see. I'm not there.
I'll at least get
I'm
through
done.
4. No, we didn't say you
even
can be
good
done.
shows
Go
would
ahead.
have 1 bad
I
episode.
watch some shitty shows, man. So no, of course.
All right, what's next?
Okay, well, we basically answered this, but let's do this. Nick James says, go figure, a show about a coven witches having a female-led cast, super woke, such crybabies. Please never retire, John. We're doomed. I mean, we've covered it. But.
Yeah, again, like when you see that there are people that are always like, wait a minute, what? 1, 2, 3. Oh, those characters are girls. Pay them no attention. All right, what's next?
We got like 15, so we got to get moving.
Oh, yeah, let's go.
Alan says, hey, John, longtime fan and viewer since The Dark Knight Rises AMC talk.
Oh, thank you, man.
I don't know if you covered this or not, but Disney Plus bundles are increasing their price yet again on October 17, except the bundles with Max.
Well, yeah, I mean, but this is a price increase that was actually announced a little while ago, and now it's coming into effect. And it is making it, look, the streamers, first of all, we all knew that the prices that the streamers started with were not going to be the regular prices because they could never be profitable at those prices. They were operating at a loss. They were trying to just get people on board and then they could start slowly increasing their prices. We get that. Now they're at the place where they're going to start increasing prices even more because they want to, number one, make more money because most of the streamers still don't make a profit. But number 2, they're going to try to corral us into the ad-supported plans because even though the ad-supported plans are cheaper for us, it actually makes them more money. I don't like ad-supported plans, but that's their plan. And also, they're going to try to corral us not only into ad-supported plans, they're going to try to corral us into bundle deals because if we're in a bundle deal, we may be paying a little bit less money, but it reduces the chances that we'll churn, that will cancel the service after we watch our favorite show only to resubscribe later. Like if we're in a bundle where we've got like Max and Disney and Hulu, then it's much less likely that we'll churn. So yeah, we're in a phase right now where we're going to be seeing these streamers trying to really encourage us to either get onto the ad-supported plans or into a bundle deal. So we'll see how extreme it gets. All right, what's next?
We got Matan who says, what if one of the reasons that there are shows today that feel like movies that are badly stretched out is that studios stopped greenlighting mid-budget films out of some ignorance, which led to all of those pitches being picked up by Netflix and HBO?
No, the main thing is, and it's mainly Disney in particular, because like you suddenly had Marvel, which didn't have the first idea about how to do a TV show, and Lucasfilm, which again, they just approached those shows like they were making a movie and didn't know how to properly do them as TV shows. And so, and it's really just Disney Plus that's the issue. I've never felt that with HBO. I've never felt a series on HBO felt like this should have been a movie instead. I've never felt that. So I really think and I also have not felt that with Amazon. Marvelous Mrs. Maisel was a TV show, and a damn good TV show. Fallout feels like a great TV show. The Boys feels like a great TV show. Like, so Amazon's not that problem either. It's really just a Disney Plus thing. And and also it hasn't been with anything on Disney Plus outside of Lucasfilm and Marvel, because Dickie Van Mickey Face and the Olympians. Percy Jackson. Yes, that's right.
Dickie Van Mickey Face.
So Percy Jackson.
Oh boy.
Percy Jackson didn't feel like it was a movie crushed into a TV show. It felt like a legitimate TV show. It really only is Disney Plus, and on Disney Plus, it's really only Lucasfilm and Marvel. All right, what's next?
Real quick, because I was just curious, Agatha, does it feel like it's 20 minutes of footage and 10 minutes of credits, or is it like
no? Like I said on the live chat last night, like even though the show wasn't an hour, because Agatha is so properly paced and actually understands you need to have a scene, therefore the next scene, therefore.
Gotcha.
Because everything did that, it felt like it had a great cadence and a proper pace. And so even though it was only like 40 minutes, it felt like a fully satisfying episode, where we've seen some other stuff on Disney Plus that's been like 38 minutes that felt like, I feel like nothing happened in this. Why did I bother watching this? With Agatha, it felt completely different.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
We got Tron who says, if there's a Transformers 1 sequel, what are the chances Skids and Mudflap appear in it? Do you think we'll see those two again?
No,
never,
God, no.
Never.
That was like some serious Michael Bay low-key racism in those characters. So no, never again.
Now we know.
Never again. All right, what's next?
Ian McAllister says, Rings of Power episode 6 dropped last night. It's awesome. I don't want to give any spoilers here.
Let's move on. Let's move on. I appreciate that, Ian. Haven't seen it yet. Don't want to get any spoilers. The problem, of course, with that is that they're dropping the episodes at midnight. And I'm not doing that anymore for shows. I mean, I did it for X-Men 97, but I'm probably not going to do it. And whereas like Agatha dropped at 6 and Penguin, I think, is dropping at 6 or 9, something like that. But so it comes out at midnight and like just don't have a chance. Like I got to get up at 5 a.m. So I just don't have a chance to watch it now. So I'm going to have to watch it today. All right, what's next?
A $20 tip from Good Canadian Kid.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that, dude. That's very generous.
Yeah, Morgan. Hey, John and company, longtime watcher. Thanks for getting Maya and my missus through COVID and more. Decency and goodness are in short supply, and all of your shows. All of you shows yours. A show you're in spades. Thanks. Thanks endlessly for what you do.
Oh, thank you. You know, it's always really special when somebody just wants to write in just to be supportive. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate it very, very much. Thanks for being here. Yeah, and thank you for supporting us. And thank you for tipping. I really appreciate it, man. Thank you very much. All right. What's next?
Anonymous says, hey, John and crew, I think you and I think Chris nailed it again. Why does Agatha feel like a TV show? Because it has a real showrunner, not a director pretending to be one. Tony Gilroy, Jon Favreau, obvious exceptions to that rule.
Yeah, I mean, you have somebody in there who is the proper showrunner. They've given her the power to really oversee and structure this thing from the creative point of view and run it like a TV show, but also it feels like a show because it's written as a show. From its conception to its execution, it's written as a show by clearly people who are much better writers and have written some other stuff. So for all those reasons together, I agree with you. This one feels like a legit show, and hopefully, fingers crossed, that'll be a harbinger of things to come for Disney Plus. Maybe. All right, what's next?
Suthia says, to jump on the bandwagon of movie talk nostalgia, I first discovered John Campea Company when our firstborn was a 2-year-old. He is now in high school.
Wow.
My discovery came about wanting to obtain movie news visually after getting tired of reading from Coming Soon.
You know what? Coming Soon to this day remains one of my favorite outlets.
Yeah, that's great.
But they don't really have a visual, right? They don't have like a channel.
I don't think they have a channel. No, they're just a website.
Yeah.
And you know what? Actually, before I moved to LA, I forgot about this. I got an offer. I was doing the movie blog at the time. I got an offer from Coming Soon. They wanted to do a spin-off site that specifically focused, if I'm remembering this right, they wanted to do a spin-off site that specifically focused on sci-fi movies. And they asked me at the time if I wanted to run that Coming Soon spin-off site. I can't remember what the name of it was going to be. But I ultimately said no, and I can't remember why, because I'm a big fan of Coming Soon. I've always liked their website. I still do. I can't remember why I turned it down. It might have been for something else. But I don't think they ever did do it, though. I don't think they ever did launch that site. Maybe they did, and I just never noticed. Anyway, thank you for that, man. Appreciate that very much. All right, what's next?
And then Suthius follows up. Shortly after Iron Man came out in 2008, I had this curiosity of wanting to know what movies were coming out. Then I discovered ComingSoon.net. Was amazed that you could read up on future movie news. I did this for a few years until I found Movie Talk. I kind of feel the same way because I found you guys through the segments that you used to put out. That was how I first, and then I started watching the long form. And it was just like, oh my God, like I don't know anyone else where it's like people in the industry and also just fans of and pundits that are just getting together in a news format, like you've said, like an ESPN kind of format, and talking about this stuff. It really attracted me to the show. So I started out as a fan.
And I still remember when you came in to interview with me and Dennis for the first time. Yeah, like when I started this stuff, I wanted, because I'm a sports fan, obviously, and I consume a lot of sports talk content. I realized that me and my friends, when we talked about movies, we didn't talk about them the way art people talk about movies. We talked about movies the way sports fans talk about movies. And there was nothing out there for that. So when I first started the Movie Blog Audio Edition, the podcast, which then ultimately kind of morphed into a video show and then later kind of became the basis for what AMC Movie Talk was, my goal was to create what I called Sports Center for movie fans, where we talked as fans. Now, it didn't take long for a lot of people to try to imitate what we were doing. And that's good. I mean, I think that was good for the space. And so you started to see a lot of other shows popping up that were kind of very much along the lines of the format that we had done. Oddly enough, do you guys notice that there's none of them around anymore?
Yeah.
Like, there's none of them around anymore. There's no more larger-ish outlets doing like hour-long daily live movie. Like for a time there was like a dozen, 15, 20 of them. And now there's none. I think we're the last ones doing it. But it's really weird how it's kind of, that whole thing is evolved. But that is what we were going for. We were going for like Sports Center for Movie Talk. And I continue that to this day. That's always been kind of my main guiding philosophy. All right. What's next?
All right, so here's a 3-parter. I think it's kind of about the dynamic of The Office. I'm not quite sure. Anonymous says, there's something very familiar about all of this. Have you seen the new The Office trailer?
No, I didn't know there was a trailer out.
I watched and said, there's the Michael, there's the Jim, there's the Pam, there's the Kevin, etc. See, it just seems like maybe a gender-swapped Michael and Dwight. Actors swapped all of the others, and country swapped the entire show. It feels a bit safe. When I heard they were making another and the creators of The American Office were returning, I was very optimistic. But this first taste feels like they're trying to create the same dynamic with different actors instead of creating a new dynamic. I would have liked to see a more corporate Jan type as the head of the local office, dealing with a new staff.
Okay, so remember, everything I'm about to say comes from the perspective that I haven't seen the trailer yet. But I would say don't worry about it. Look, you're calling it The Office. You're pushing that it's by the creators of the original Office, at least the American version. and I know this is an unpopular thing to say, but the American version is better than the British version. I know the cool thing to say is, oh, the original British version is better. It's not. It's not. The American version is better. I really like the British version. I really, really do. But the American, they took the ball and they exceeded it. And by the way, Ricky Gervais was the executive producer of the American version. So he's like the reason why the American version even exceeded his own British version. Anyway, that aside, as somebody who has not seen the trailer, my thought is one of their big missions in their marketing is to remind everybody this is The Office. They want people to think about The Office, the original Office, when they see this. So I would say don't worry about it, because you know what? The first couple of trailers for the Steve Carell The Office were not all that great. Actually, it's the commercials being bad for it is one of the reasons why I was kind of late to the party and starting to watch The Office. So I wouldn't worry about it for now. Let's see what happens when the show comes out. All right. What's next?
Okay, Anonymous says, hi, John and crew. Thoughts on Doom showing up, end of Fantastic Four, and killing Galactus. Galactus shows up on Earth as he's threatened by Franklin Richards, but Doom is godfather to Franklin, adapting LOL from comics. He's shown to care for Valeria.
No, none of that.
That's really deep to go for
Yeah,
the first.
first of all, Franklin Richards, it does not exist in this upcoming Fantastic Four movie. So there's that. I think at most, if we do get Robert Downey Jr. in the movie, at very most, it'll be a post-credit scene. At most. So it's not going to be he comes in, and they're not going to have a Fantastic Four movie where the Fantastic Four can't deal with the problem of the movie. Fantastic Four will defeat Galactus, whatever defeating him looks like. So, yeah, I really don't think any of that. And again, I'm not even convinced we're going to see Robert Downey Jr. in Fantastic Four at all. Because remember, this Fantastic Four is in another universe. Mm-hmm. Then again, so will Robert Downey Jr.'s Doom. Maybe it's this one, maybe it's not. But I think, again, absolute maximum, if we see him at all, and I'm not convinced we will, it'll be in a post-credit scene. All right, what's next?
A performing artist says, hello, John. Along with Joyride, I want to also recommend another black comedy that got completely missed last year. The movie Bottoms. Yeah. Stars Rachel Sennett, directed by Emma Seligman. Would love to hear all your thoughts on it, and Chris Ray and more.
Ann doesn't do the show. So, Rob and I talked about it last year. Yes. And it's available now. I think
I just saw it. I can't remember where.
Is it on Amazon?
I believe it is.
I feel like it's Amazon or it's Hulu or something.
Yeah, because then Ann and I sat down and rewatched. We didn't rewatch the whole thing, but we rewatched a bunch of it. I think it was on Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon.
It's on Amazon. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, you know what? Not as good as Joyride, but a really nice one. That's a good recommendation. Go check out Bottoms if you get a chance. Quite funny. All right, what's next?
James Shimo says, hey, John, Legend of Vox Machina Season 3 starts October 3rd. Have you been keeping up with the show? And if so, are you excited for the new season?
I really like the show. I really like the show. And I'm excited about it returning. It's not like I've been counting down the days. And I'll be honest, I thought Season 1 was a little bit better than Season 2, but I still really like Season 2. So, yeah, and again, I'm a Dungeons & Dragons player, so obviously. But yes, I am looking forward to it, and I hope they keep the quality up, because I think Season 2 was a little, again, not quite as good. Still good, and hopefully they can maintain that. All right,
here's our last tip. Logan Vaughn says, I think it's so funny that Sebastian Stan is playing Trump after Chris Evans played Joe Biden in that final scene of Avengers Endgame.
He did kind of look a little like Joe Biden, didn't he?
Yeah, didn't he? Wasn't he like, hey, Jack, here's your shield? And he had his aviators on.
You want to tell me what happened? No, I don't think I do.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. That's fine. All right, guys, and that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show podcast. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in questions. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. I want to thank the people in the room with me, Ray Ora.
See you guys tomorrow.
Jonathan Voico.
See you Friday.
My name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.